Looks like you have a book to review.
Yeah, I do. So I'll preview it. We have a little look at that, but we'll talk about whatever else. You got anything you want to talk
Nope,
about?
you
I guess
talk.
we haven't listened to the CBC today, so there's not much to complain about.
My guess is you're going to talk about your encounter.
Triggering. Yeah. So I've mentioned it before. So there's the full gauchers, whatever you want to call yourself. But just make sure you got the gauche in there, and don't forget the full, because that's what you guys are. You keep on yipping and yapping about statues being triggering. You heard about that? Oh man, I can't handle that. That statue's just bumming me. I'll never recover.
Yep.
There was one indigenous person who was quite wise. He said, I don't want to see, this was recently, within the last week, I don't want to see any statues taken down. I do want to see some plaques put up, explaining things.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's commies and stuff like that who go around censoring stuff like that. A statue is a work of art. It might be a piece of crap, but it's a work of art. And you leave that kind of stuff up. Particularly when it's our first Prime Minister. I'm talking to you, Kingston. Jesus. H, you know what. Now, so triggering. There's a different kind of triggering going on. And it's triggering that's, see, like the kind of triggering that the folk gauchers are talking about. It's like a little pop gun, a toy gun. Hey, man! But there's real triggering going on, and folk gauchers are doing it, and then a lot of the people that they're being the useful idiots for are doing even more of it. And that's real triggering. So I was going to talk about this, and then I wasn't going to. Now I'm going to talk about it. I don't know if you heard about this. About a week ago. A woman and her daughter were whacked someplace north of here. By a dude who was living in the same apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Dude's charged with murder and one charge of desecrating a body or whatever term.
Oh, I did hear about that. Okay.
So he was a convicted sex offender. Now, I don't know how bad the offense was. I don't know if it was one or whatever. Maybe Flunky should have been out. I don't know. I'd be interested to see what his actual offense was that he was convicted of, and how long his term was. But the whole idea now with criminal injustice, justice, how could I say criminal injustice, is, you can't, you let them loose in neighborhoods and you don't warn the neighborhoods, right? Because then they'll get, I guess, triggered into self-fulfilling prophecy. People will look at them, and it's like the mark of Cain. They need the mark of Cain.
Yeah.
They've got the mark of Cain on them, and they'll always be Cain and stuff like that. Try it out, maybe not. Let's do just a thought experiment. Think about calling a Hutterite a terrorist. You terrorist! Everyone, when they see, that's a terrorist, that's a terrorist. Next thing you know, you're going to see that Hutterite, taking his crop dusting plane and running it into the Calgary Tower.
No,
Eh?
I mean, it's such a joke.
It's a joke. You could do that with Mennonites.
No.
Joke. You do that with a giant in India. Joke. It's a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone who's going around saying, hey, the reason why Osama's away because Muslims are called terrorists. He would have been like he wouldn't have hurt a fly if Muslims weren't called terrorists.
The problem is that's an extremely aggressive religion.
It's an aggressive religion. There's lot sorts of religions that have been aggressive. Or belief systems. Nazism, worse. But I had to think about it.
It doesn't mean everyone who's...
Communism, worse, and I had to think about that even more. But go on.
It doesn't mean that every Muslim is aggressive.
No, no. And Christianity's been aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain types of Christianity that are a little more aggressive than others nowadays. The whole thing with Christians is they better get over it. Same thing with commies. If you've been a commie, get over it. You might be able to come up, if you get closer to the original stuff, you might have something that's a little more civilized and stuff like that. It'll be a challenge. You better just to leave Marx aside, Marx and Engels. But, try to come up with something pacific out of that. That's a big challenge. So triggering. There's real triggering going on, with guns being held at people's heads, and then people getting killed. So Fogosh has been going along with the fake Freudianism. Freud would have been absolutely appalled by them. Freud was apparently quite a conservative individual. And of course, that doesn't make Freud hunky-dory with me. If anything, it makes it worse, because I'm not, you might think I'm a conservative. I'm definitely not. But, the whole idea with these faux gauchis, and this goes back 100 years or so, probably to the 20s. We're going around saying, wow, early childhood. It shapes people. And then they're coming along, and they say, we can reshape people. Wow. Like if kittens have their, I think it's optic nerve severed, and then after they kind of like grow up, it's reconnected. They don't see the way a person's treated in their early childhood often determines where they are. And Freud or no Freud, I have a hard time changing that. So, if a person's a serious sex offender, I presume this guy that he is now. It's going to be hard to change him. How did that guy get loose? Especially amongst other people. Someone who's going to kill two people and desecrate at least one of the bodies. Shameful. And it's because of this stupid faux gaucherie. So they're going around saying, oh, the United States is the highest, the largest criminal population in the world. Or prison population in the world. We checked with the People's Republic of China. And if you've checked, do you think they'd actually give you the actual statistics? Are you going to count the Uyghurs that are kind of like, incarcerated in, it looks like work camps? And then the kids taken away from them, so the kids are being held in something like incarceration. So, guess what? The United States is the third biggest population. I'm not talking about the prison population, I'm talking about the overall population in the world. So the only two places that you'd expect to have a higher prison population, if all other things were equal, would be India and China. Does India have there should be more people in India sitting behind bars. I mean, it's...
well, that's just it. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
It's dangerous for a woman because of rape,
Yeah. It doesn't really matter what the percentage of prisoners is per country. Mm-hmm. If they ought to be there, they ought to be there. If they're... You can't say, okay, well, there's too many people in prison, so let's just let a bunch out, Even though they should be... I mean... What's the alternative? Putting the rest of us in prisons to try to keep us safe? Because that'll happen.
There are places
People will start building gated communities. And
they already
they
are.
will make sure that nobody gets in. And if they do get in, they won't get back out. Because if the legal system is not going to protect them, they will find ways to protect themselves.
Exactly right. So now I'm feeling kind of a little bit like I got triggered today. And it's lucky enough that I'm the kind of person that was able to talk myself out of this situation. A. And B. I'm not going to get triggered into
No, because
over
passive
generalizing.
people, if you're a passive person, you aren't triggered into becoming an aggressive person. That's not how it happens. So when you're allowing people to immigrate, or you're bringing refugees in, and you actually test them to see if they're aggressive or not, that would make sense, rather than just bringing a bunch of aggressive people in and then saying, oh, well, you triggered them.
Exactly right. So here's what happened. Into the bank. Got some money out. Gave it to Pauline. Her money, just like mine. It's just in my account.
Well, he gives me, it's about $800 every 2 months, so that my bills are paid with the house.
Yeah, but it also like you're buying.
Groceries.
You've got the card.
Yeah.
I've never had a credit card in my
I buy the groceries
life.
and I buy the gas. So it's the fuel for his car, the food that we eat, and the bills.
Yeah. So we done that, and I didn't have any coin on me. I saw a book there, and it's going to, I guess, a good charity, cancer. And
so
I
we
wanted
went
to
back
came
to the
back to the car,
get
got
money.
some coins. It was a silver collection, okay.
It's funny, at the bank, but you didn't have money to buy, because he had bills, we wanted to use, it was change, right, for the books. But anyway,
So we'd
could have asked them, but he didn't.
Pauline had said, which side of the street should we go on? And I'm going, well,
He
went on
doesn't
the
like
east side
the
of
other
street.
where the bus thing is, so we go.
No.
But on
There are
the
more
way back,
people on
he
that
went on the
side,
bus
and
thing.
there are lots of people there who they're not really clear about orienting themselves, and so like you have to do social distancing a little more carefully there. I would just review for it. I'm over 60, so COVID's kind of a threat for me. I got a few comorbidities. What are they? Oh yeah, I've got cancer. That lowers my immune system.
Well, the fractured vertebrae is really the issue here. So just go on with the story.
Well, I have to explain why I got challenged.
Okay.
No?
Right, the fractured vertebrae. So he has 5 fractured vertebrae.
Well, this is what makes it particularly
Yes.
dangerous. But I've got bone marrow cancer, which lowers my immune system more than it would for just the average cancer patient. Because guess where you develop your immune system? I guess almost all of them. Yeah? Bone marrow.
And then he's getting
The two treatments I
which
take
lowers his
target
immunity.
the bone
Yeah.
marrow.
So
So that lowers my immune
Yeah.
system. Plus, a
Okay.
month ago they told me, next month, watch out, because your immune system is lower than it has been
yeah,
heretofore.
and then he wouldn't be able to get the treatment, and then the
Yeah.
cancer would be bad,
Okay.
ramping up.
So
anyway,
I've already masked up. I've gloved up in preparation for the bank.
yeah.
Going back
So
to the
now he's
bank.
going back with the money.
I see this guy coming towards me. And it's just some guy. I go on the out. This is a double wide sidewalk, maybe triple wide. There's the main part of the sidewalk. There's some trees planted here, and there's more sidewalk, and then there's parking here with meters. So I go on the outside of the trees, the way I do with everyone.
Yeah, well, funny story though. I used to, the first time I walked with a friend of mine,
Yeah.
and there were a couple of native people that were walking in the opposite direction from us, like coming towards us, right? And she walked on the outside of and I'm like, oh my God, you're going to get us beat up, I'm thinking. Right? So same sort of
It's a
situation.
similar sort of thing.
Only back then it wasn't COVID and all this stuff. It was just her being freaked out.
But check this out. I've walked downtown
Yeah, I know.
by Indigenous people.
I know.
I've never had anyone say
No.
boo to me.
I know.
And I'm Indigenous too. A little bit. Doesn't show, but I am. Now, so my ancestors go back here. I think on 3 different parts of my mom's genealogy. 3 different parts. It's not like one. Eh? 3. I suspect it's something like Shuswap, Ojibwa, and I've been told Powhat. Okay. That's from substantially different parts of the North American continent. So, I've given myself proper social distancing. All of a sudden, person's getting in my face. Literally getting in my way. You want to fight? Say what? I just want to go to the bank.
What are you?
I've never been in a fight as an adult. Ever, ever, ever. I mean, when you've got an older brother who picks on you, you're going to be in fights. You don't have any choice. The last fight I had with him, I would have been about 14 years old. He was 2.5 years older, and I was way more athletic than him. And it was a tie. And we never had another fight again. As I told him, you know who was starting every fight. Because the fight stopped. As soon as it was evident that the next one, he'd lose. And he'd lose everyone after that. So, I'm not the kind of person who goes out and picks fights. For example, in soccer, I had a guy, he's Croatian, but in Spanish, his last name means joke. And that's what he is. I'm not going to mention the name. But he headbutted me. And my reaction was, hey, Mike, it's me. It wasn't, hey, let's fight. He headbutted me right in the nose. He could have broken my nose. Another time, playing soccer, and a guy punches me. Now, it's a WWE punch. He punched me in the chest. He didn't punch me in the jaw. Maybe his aim was that bad. I don't think so. And again, my reaction was, hey, what's going on? I'm not a fighter by nature. I'm not going to get triggered into being a fighter. So dude repeats it. I'm not moving out of my way. And then he says, I'm going, what is this about? You scared of me, he says. And he bothers to repeat, you scared of me? Wow, that's interesting. Because 2 days ago, I was at a anti-vaccine affair in front of the city hall, and no one challenged me like that. I mean, I saw guys that looked like bikers there.
Yeah.
I saw a guy who used to be on the SWAT team.
I mean, none of those guys had masks on. I know,
Hall.
because I had walked by on the way home, and I told him, oh, there's an anti-vaxxer thing in front of... So he went... So I know none of them were wearing masks. So he's wearing gloves and masks to go...
I didn't have gloves,
to talk to, oh,
but
you didn't have gloves.
I had a mask on. I was maintaining social distancing. I got treated with respect. But here I am walking to the street, down the street, and I get challenged to a fight. I got 5 fractured vertebrae. Even if I had tendencies towards fighting, there's no way I'd get in a fight. If I got in a fight, I'd be in a wheelchair for life. I'm not exaggerating. One doctor said to me, I've never seen so much damage with, he's talking about my case, with so few complications. And it's because I've been so careful that there have been so few complications. I don't want to fight with anyone. Never wanted to fight with anyone. I'm a little upset. It's upsetting my stomach a little bit. So, I don't like this person that's done this to me. I'm having to beg not for my life, but for my health. I'm begging to stay out of a wheelchair. I'm having to try to think fast. So I'm saying, I explained my situation, how the doctors have told me, I gotta be careful. This guy doesn't seem to understand social distancing. Then I'm saying, hey, I was born in Africa. How about you? Because you see, dude was born in Africa. I'm not going to say where. I don't want him tracking me down. I have a feeling I saw him again after I bought the book. I'm a feeling I'm going to see him again. I don't want him tracking me down. I'm not going to say what his name is. How long's he been here? 2019. I don't know if he's a refugee or what. But I feel like taking refuge from him. I don't know where I can escape. I've been saying for 20 years now, we are the last refuge of the refugees. And we're also the last refuge of people who aren't refugees, but are going to be refugees if we keep on letting in people to the democracies that don't have a clue about democracy. In a democracy, I shouldn't have to sit and beg on the street for my health. I shouldn't have to. It's like the woman in Holland watching the terrorist kill Theo van Gogh. She was a Dutch person. She says, you can't do that here. And all he does is, I guess, in answer, is chop his head off. How to do things with words. J.L. Austin. Maybe I got the initials wrong. But yeah, how to do things. He did something without words. It was, like how to do things with body language. Whoop! I can do that here. And it's getting done here. It's getting done here with increasing frequency. Guy should never have been let in. Never. That guy who killed Theo van Gogh what was he doing in Holland? He didn't believe in democracy. Who let him in? He didn't believe in freedom of speech. Van Gogh exercised his freedom of speech, and he got killed for it. The woman who wrote the script for his of the film that got him killed, I think she's still not running. But they weren't going to protect her in Holland, so she ran here. You see, Holland was one of the last refuges for the refugees. She's a refugee, and now she's a refugee from Holland. You'll get a politician, and this is not that recently, saying to the Jewish people of Holland, this has been one of the last refuges for Jews in the world. Since about 1500 AD, 1492. This Dutch politician was saying to the Jewish population of Holland, we can't protect you anymore. We'd like to, but we can't protect you from the Muslims. We can't. You're probably going to have to find someplace else. Wow. Holland no longer is one of the last refuges of the refugees. No longer. And we're working our way towards that here in Canada. The United States is a little bit more slow. When it comes to that, I think they're a little more careful about who they let in.
Well, and it's not going to happen here in southern Alberta, and I will tell you why. If you look back, not that far in history, you'll find out that southern Alberta especially, but I mean, there's places in Alberta where, like central Alberta, there's a lot of racists. There's a lot of racists in central
Maybe you've
Alberta.
cleaned up your act,
And
Eckville. I hope so.
northern Alberta,
well, Edson is on the borderline of that, so
you have a lot of people who are very protective of self and of their family. And like Mayor Thorpe.
Mayor Thorpe's amazing. Wow.
Don't,
I don't know
don't
what happened to those.
necessarily. The law is not going to tell them what to do. And that's now. If you look back around World War II, around then, you'll see what the political situation was in Alberta.
We had fascists, not quite Nazis, in control from 35 and well after World War II to 1971.
And as much as people's, there's a lot. I was at this academic sort of event a while back, and James said something, and one of the women that was sitting at the table with us said, well, that's left back in the old country kind of thing, like that's not, we don't bring that into Canada with us. That's whatever. It was about, what was it about? I can't remember. Oh, United Empire Loyalists or whatever. Like just about some sort of...
Oh, was I talking about my ancestors being United Empire?
Yes,
and it isn't
like
even
that.
old country because it was coming from the United States.
Yeah. But anyway, so I think that's probably what you were talking about.
Yeah.
But anyway, she said that, and I thought, wow, what a ridiculous thing to think, that people have moral views or some sort of cultural views, and then they come over and poof, they're gone.
Yep.
They've left them behind. And it's like, no, they keep them, and they teach them to their kids. And those things are hard to shake.
Yeah,
really hard to shake.
Yeah.
So if you put a bunch of people in that a certain segment of the population that's been here for a long time is not going to be too eager to like in the first place, and then they have reason, they have something, if
they get
people
triggered,
that have immigrated trigger them, things are going to turn violent, really violent. And
yeah,
I don't look forward to it.
we've had multiculturalism forever and anon. We've had them. And what has it always resulted in? Wars. Cultures are not very compatible. Newsflash. No, it ain't a newsflash. Because this goes back. I study ancient history, along with a lot of other things. The Egyptians didn't get along with the Assyrians. Newsflash. When they rubbed shoulders, it was more like rubbing shields. Wow. Newsflash. What are you going to do about it? Oh, what we're going to do is, you see, with these cultures is we've been going along and we've been marginalizing them. All we got to do is get inclusive, and they're going to get all cuddly with us. Yeah.
Not if they're aggressive. Not if they're aggressive personality types. So if you are a part of immigration and you're wanting to welcome a bunch of people in, welcome passive people in.
Who
Passive
believe in
people.
democracy.
Yes, because if you welcome aggressive people, they could say, oh yes, believe in democracy, so that we overpopulate and then we say no to your democracy.
Well, there's a
that doesn't
particular religious group that has that.
So-
the vast majority of them have that as their ambition.
Yeah. So there's that. But the reason that I say that it's not that I'm against immigration, even though there's way too many people, even here in Canada.